What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sportsmen Hoops. What a night of hoops in the NBA. The NBA is just unbelievable to me. I wanted to come on here and be super happy with the Sixers win. The Sixers were doing pretty well. Joel Embiid was dominating the game. But, I have to give Lakers their props. I didn't think that the Lakers could necessarily pull this off, but they did. LeBron James played well at the end of the game. He had a lot of turnovers. He had 8 turnovers. Didn't play well the entire game, but at his age, LeBron James made his case for the GOAT again because just playing at this age so well, catching alley oops, running down the floor fast. He was played unbelievably. So I have to give LeBron James his props tonight, beating my team, the Philadelphia 76ers. I did want to touch a little bit on the trade deadline. I wasn't super impressed with it overall. Obviously, today was the end of the trade deadline, and Harden went to Cleveland. And in the end, I don't think that does much for Cleveland. I mean, in terms of how far they're going to go in the playoffs, I think they'll get there. Harden will probably, play well at the beginning, have a few good playoff games, and they'll bow out in the second round. So I don't think that trade's going to have a huge effect. AD going to Washington, uh, playing over there with I'm forgetting his name. The little man, and I'm totally forgetting his name right now. Uh, what is his name? But regardless, I don't even think Anthony Davis is going to necessarily going to play for Washington at all. Maybe next year he'll probably sit it out. So there were a lot of other trade moves. As I said, I didn't think they were super interesting. Overall, I don't think it's going to put anyone over the top to win the championship. But let's get on the topic for tonight. And what I really want to get to is the fact that, and even though the Sixers lost, they had won, 7, 8 in a row. Joel Embiid and Victor Wembanyama at this moment in the NBA are the best two big men in the NBA, bar none. Now, obviously, there's other great big men out there, even some big men that over in their all-time ranking right now might be higher than Embiid. Embiid's been injured. I certainly right now, if Embiid wasn't injured over time and have all those injuries, I think Embiid would be him and Wemby would go back and forth as the best big men in the NBA. Obviously, Joker's awesome. No disrespect to him. His, their career ends. Joker right now would go down as a I guess ranked higher than Embiid, but I don't think that would happen if Embiid didn't have all those injuries. Embiid has been dominant over the last 8 games. Embiid has averaged 32.9 points a game. That's dang near 33 points. 50%, 52% from the field, 52% from three, 5.3 assists and 8.8 rebounds. He has been dominating. The Sixers are still working things out. They're good, but as you can see tonight, they kind of had a letdown, and really from the mid part of the third quarter, they started to really really lose momentum. They couldn't get the ball in the basket, but Embiid was dominating. Embiid had finished, I think, with about 35 points. I just got done watching the game a little bit ago, so I haven't had a chance to look at the stat sheet. But Embiid was in the 30s last time I checked. Earlier, when I checked, he was at 11 for 17 at 31 points, but he had scored a few times after that. Dominant player, and him and Wemby are just something different. I think everybody wants to put everyone in a box, but these two guys, without injury, just I think Embiid would finish. If they both had a healthy career all the way through, would finish top 5 ever in the game, if not certainly among centers. And like I said, no disrespect to David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Olajuwon, who have all technically, obviously, they've had better careers than them because they played longer. But I'm saying if they were to have that happen, and speaking for right now in the league at this second, Joel Embiid and Victor Wembanyama are the two best big men in the league. Now, Joker's coming back from injury. He's working on some things. He had a rough night last night. shoot. He was like 1 for 11, 1 for 9 for three, something to that effect. Not, but that's going to change. Joker's going to have something to say about it. I'm not saying by the end of the year that Joker won't come back and be better than one or both of them. But right now, they're the best two and the most dominant big men in the league. As I said, I'm a little down because my Sixers lost, so I'm not. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I wanted to come on with a little bit more pep in my step and talk a little bit, but the Sixers did take the L. As I said, Joel did dominate, and I want to talk a little bit about why Joel and why Wemby are different. Like now, Joel, he's like an old school center with modern efficiency because he has post game, but he plays from the nail, does his hezzy pull, and he was hidden tonight. I think really what let them down is Maxey didn't play well for some reason. He didn't seem to really be in the game, but Embiid still dominated. He's elite at drawing fouls. He bends the defensive rotations. Like when he has the ball and he starts moving, if they give him space, he pops the shot. If they don't force him to put the ball on the ground, and he's also become a much better playmaker. I'm not saying he is. When I say playmaker, people use it in different ways. Well, not different ways, but playmaking is a mixture of your scoring gravity with your assist. Um, Joel Embiid has become a good passer. He did have one or two mistakes and turnovers I didn't like, but he had some nice assists to his teammates at the end of the game when it looked like the Sixers might come back. They double teamed him. He found the right players, found the open players. Sixers did have a chance to win the game at the end. It was disappointing, but Joel can do it all. I mean, he can score from the low post. He can face up, hit the mid range. He can do the pick and pop. I wish I did a little bit more pick and pop today with Maxi, but it said Maxi wasn't on his game. Joel forces double teams that really creates offense for everybody else. And although this year, as Joel came back from injuries, he was a terrible defender. In his career, he's been a solid defensive anchor, uh, and over the last few games, he's been a good defensive anchor once again. Great rim protection. His his defensive rebounding has been has risen over the last 8 games. He's up to 8.8, and he really can control the pace of the game, even with it being Maxi's team. I think they're still working that out a little bit because it is Maxi's team now. But Joel's just such a great player. I've never seen a big man with the hezzy pull, and he's not even at his peak anymore because of his injuries. His peak was short. I don't, he's not going to probably get better, but the things that he's able to do, the footwork, he's strong, and as I said, his defense is getting better coming back from the beginning of the year and ramping up. And I'm hopeful in the playoffs that he's going to give us some really really good defensive minutes. And he dominates physically without sacrificing any skill. I think Wimby and Joel are in the talent level and skill of like a Shaquille O'Neal or an Olajuwon. I'm not saying they had the career that they had just yet. So relax, old school guys. I am not saying they're them yet. I do believe that I don't know if either one of them will definitely surpass Shaq, even though I think Wemby has a really good chance of being the GOAT one day. One day. But I don't know. They may not pass Shaq, but Shaq's peak to me, Shaq's peak is 3 years. I think from let's say 99 to '02. I mean, I think Shaq might be the best player ever in those 3 years. So I'm not dissing Shaq. It's just overall, Shaq's not the GOAT. I'm just saying those 3 years, I may take Shaq over anybody. But I think that both Joel Embiid and Victor, although their games are very different, I believe they're of that same ilk. And just unbelievable players. Now, proof, the modern NBA is definitely different, so players play different. Now, a perfect example of that is Victor Wembanyama, who also dominates, and he's 7'4", 7'5". The way he dominates is a little bit different than uh, than Joel Embiid, but it's still dominant. He really defines what positionless actually means Victor Wembanyama, I'm not saying he could play point guard, but he does bring the ball up. He could play the two, essentially plays a 2 and 3 because he plays on the wing, shoots threes, pick and pop. Well, let's not say pick and pop. He doesn't do a whole lot of that, but he tonight I watched the first half of that game before the Sixers game came on. Victor came up, caught the ball on the hop, gave his man a little hezzy, and then step back three, and not like near the NBA line. He was at least a foot and a half back. You can't stop that. You can't guard that. His defensive gravity is life changing. It is different than anything. The second he steps on the court, it changes everything. And he was able to dominate out there on the court, blocking shots, altering shots. One guy, I forget who drove to the basket for Dallas. That's who they played, Cooper Flag and the Mavs. Um, and one guy came down the middle of the court. And he just threw the ball up against the backboard because Wemby didn't even hit it, but he was trying to get it up over Wemby. That's how much he changes it. Um, he, he covers space differently than any other player that I've ever seen. And then offensively, oh my gosh. Although defense is the best part of Wemby's game, but he can score off the catch. He can score off the catch. He can score off the dribble. He's comfortable attacking the rim. Now, Wemby does need to stop a little bit. He dribbles a little bit too much, not because he can't dribble, but someone that tall, no matter how good you are. I mean, KD even has this problem sometimes. When you're 7 foot tall, putting the ball on the floor, a guard can come and tip it out. Even if you're super talented, and his handle's not as good as KD's, but he's also taller than KD. So once Wemby really, really gets it into his head and he kind of catches, turns and face, maybe plays a little bit like Dirk Nowitzki, where he keeps the ball high over his head, turn and face, maybe shoots the one leggers. Once he does that a little bit more and he doesn't put the ball on the floor, he'll be even more dominant. But tonight he was spectacular. Tonight he had 29 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and I didn't look, but I believe he had 3 blocks. Now you guys can check me on that. You can check the stats. I believe Wemby had 3 blocks. They said I came on right after the Sixers game, so I haven't had time to go through all the numbers. But just 2 dominant centers, and I hope everyone out there just understands kind of what they're seeing here. This is different. I know a lot of times when I speak with older gentlemen about the NBA, it's just that they they think because they shoot so many threes, there's no dominant big men in the league anymore. They don't really often have understanding for you have these 2 big men, Victor Wembanyama and Joel Embiid, who are the most skilled big men. I'm talking about true big men, not power forwards in terms of size. True center size, 7'4", 7'5", 7 foot, 7'1", dribble, shoot, hezzy pull from 3. You can run pin downs for Wemby, pin downs for a 7'4", 7'5" guy. That's crazy. You know, Wemby's length allows him to impact plays even when he's out of position. He can come from the help side. He can recover. It's unreal. Like if you know what you're looking for, and the way he's able to just stroll across the paint when he looks like he can't get there and just block the shot is absolutely amazing. And the Spurs are doing a great job of building around his strengths and not like really forcing him into anything. Um, you know, he's still learning. Wemby's still learning. He's in his 3rd year, but I mean, his dominant ceiling is higher than his current production. I don't know what Wemby's going to do next year and the year after. His his ceiling is so high. Like I said, his ceiling is GOAT level at the big man, Shaq level, Wilt level, Kareem level, and I really feel the same way about Joel Embiid as well. But it's just the fact that Joel Embiid has had so many injuries. And I'm still saying that Joel Embiid right now, because of what's going on in the league and also Joker coming back and not playing super well as of yet, I think that Joel Embiid currently is the first or second best, I'll say, because Wemby's been doing it all year. Um, you know, Wemby's just the prototype for the next generation, and Joel Embiid, is older than him, but just super dominant. I wish we got to see more of them. I do love how both teams. I feel like Embiid's more the evolution of the classic dominant center, and Wemby is kind of the blueprint for the centers or whatever you want to call him, small forward. He's a mixture of all of that going forward. As I started to speak about at the beginning, Wemby can truly play two through 2 through 5, um, and defend those positions. Now, his foot speed isn't he's not still not a super dominant on ball defender at that height, but he's still the best defender in the NBA and one of the best defenders of all time already. Now, the great thing about them, the Sixers tried to build around Embiid for a while, but obviously, I think San Antonio's doing better, has done a better job of building around. I mean, they give Embiid a lot. Embiid is mostly injuries and timeout, but you know San Antonio's built a great team around Wemby. They all accept their role. They all defend. They all space the floor out so Wemby has room. Same thing with the Sixers. I think the Sixers are actually going to, although the Sixers they're on a win. They were on a win streak until tonight. They're a tiny bit up and down, but I think the Sixers are going to do well in the playoffs because I think that Maxey and Etchcom will be able to get them through some tough spots, and then Embiid will be able to, you know, put up some solid production when needed. Big games when facing other great players and other great teams. I think San Antonio has a chance to go to the finals. I mean, I still think Denver and OKC are going to say something about that, but I think Wemby's actually going to pull them through, and I think San Antonio more than I'm saying they have a chance. I believe if I was choosing right now, I would. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to be easy. Denver is good. They're not super good right now, but they're going to be good. And then and also OKC is obviously good, but I think they're going to have a chance. San Antonio's on a chance, and they would be my choice right now to represent the West. The Sixers, it's going to be tough. I think they have a shot. I wouldn't pick them, but I think the Sixers can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and really give a good go against. I think it's going to be Detroit. I don't know how the brackets are who's going to finish where. I do think Detroit is the best team in the East with my boy Cade, who I think this is a story for another day, but I think Cade is the best point guard in the NBA over Luca and over SGA, and I hope Luca gets better. Luca did get injured tonight. I'm a little bit all over the place, guys, but I I I would just really want everyone to focus on the fact that of the dominance and what you're watching from Joel Embiid and from Victor Wembanyama, and how everyone should really appreciate what they're able to do. It's different than watching and respect to these guys' dominance. But I remember watching Patrick Ewing and Olajuwon, and I thought they were absolutely dominant and they were great. But when Shaq came along, and no disrespect, some people think Olajuwon's better than Shaq. I don't. But when Shaq came along, I remember my brother telling me, "Hey, go. There's a guy named Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq from LSU. You should watch him." We watched like season in Shaq's house, and the second I saw Shaquille O'Neal, you could tell he was different than them, a different type of dominance than their dominance. It was way different. You could tell right away, and that's the same way I feel about both Victor Wembanyama and Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid wasn't dominant like that in college. I mean, he was a great college player, but he didn't look like Shaq in college. But their skill with their size is amazing. I don't know how anyone looks at them like, "Oh, they're just okay," but and oh, my fact, I didn't mention David Robinson. David Robinson also great, great player. But I just think that both and Wemby and Embiid are better or are going to be better than both of them. I mean, obviously, Joel's career, he may not go down as better than some of these centers because of all the injuries, but in reality, he's better than them. Now, hey guys, as I always mention in today's NBA, to me, whether you have a dominant center or you have a dominant Wemby, a dominant Embiid, it's all about team building and what the GM and the organization's able to do. If you guys want to hear more of my takes, I wrote an article on sportsmanhoops.com. Go to my website, check me out, read the story. Everybody needs to read books. Don't let anybody tell you that you can just learn everything on video or on television. Read a book, take a topic, run it through maybe Chat GPT, learn something different, go back to a book, periodicals, get magazines, Harvard Business Review, the MIT Technology Review. Reading is important. Read about the NBA. I know you can watch it on get you guys can get subscriptions as long as you read. It helps you learn things. It's very important to me, very important to what I preach to my son as well. Make sure you get out there, get a book, read about the old school NBA, read about Bill Russell, read about Wilt Chamberlain, but still have respect for the players today and respect what players like Victor Wembanyama and Joel Embiid can do. As I said, if you want to learn a little bit more about team building, and I kind of relate team building to how modern companies are building their executive teams in the C-suite, go to my website at sportsmanhoops.com. Come back to me on YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell, share. I really want to build a community here, and I want to talk hoops. Want to talk as much basketball as I can. I really, really enjoy it. I have fun with it. Drop your take below in the comments on Embiid and Wemby. Tell me who you think is better if Embiid never got injured. Who do you think would have a higher ceiling, Embiid or Wemby? And who do you think would impact the game more? Now, I think most of us would say Wemby on defense, but overall, if he was never injured, who do you think is better? I don't know. I mean, I would like to see an uninjured Embiid or a full powered Embiid go up against Wemby. I think Embiid had 70 points against Wemby 2 years ago. But Wemby was obviously much younger, not as strong. Wemby's better now, and now Joel's a little older because of his injuries. But as I said, both great players. You guys want to? I'd love to hear from you guys. Again, go to my website, sportsmanhoops.com. On YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell, come back. We will talk hoops. And you guys have a great night. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it, guys. Be safe. Sportsman Hoops, baby.